Subscribe to James the Sheriff Dixon, you motherfucker.
This is Fun Time for the Sheriff, Season 5, Episode 9. This is a special episode. This is the one before Episode 50, Episode 49. I got my boy Eric Baudour on for this episode.
Oh, man, I'm excited to be here right before the end of the season. Congratulations on all your subscribers. Thank you, everyone listening to this who's been subscribing. This has been great. It's a lot of fun to get with you and talk about this stuff.
All right, so is there one, like we just talked real quick, is there one you want to start on?
Oh, dude, I don't know when this is coming out or whatever, but it's the holiday season when we're recording this, and I gotta know about the Santa Claus season 2. I gotta know about, you gotta tell me about the Santa Clauses and what that is all about.
I think I told you how the last one ended was him wanting to retire and his son taking over. So that's how this season picks off, but his son slowly starts not wanting to become it, so the family starts taking over as being Santa Claus.
Does it have all the things where like everyone's like the Jack Frost thing and like Arbor Day guy or whatever? Does it have like mascot?
There's certain episodes that like the entire family is involved in this episode through the series. Yes.
That's so goofy.
Like I brought up, I kind of wanted to, like I said, Gabriel Iglesias is in this.
Cool.
He's in this to get a paycheck.
Looks like everyone's in this for a paycheck, man.
Remember how I told you last season they had like all the legendary fairy tales and whatever, and then they weren't in the season whatsoever. It was just Fluffy and like evil Santa.
Wow, so they just didn't care to do that again, and they just went the other way. That's so funny.
Yeah. The storyline was there's this evil Santa that tried to overthrow the elves or whatever, and the elves and the gnomes. That's the story. The elves and the gnomes went up against him because he was giving out too much magic to the world or whatever. And that's the story.
Oh, that's so funny. That's goofy as hell.
But like I said, there was like I talked about earlier before. There's poorly timed Fluffy jokes. Like Fluffy would be in a scene before, and then like Tim Allen would say like, "Oh, this is like Fluffy or something," and he's not in the scene. So they're just like, "Oh, well, he's in this, and then I guess we'll use his jokes.
That's enough. We're good." Oh, that's so goofy. That's so why? So dumb.
Like Fluffy would be in the scene with like the evil Santa, and they would like poke fun at his weight, and they wouldn't call it Fluffy like he does in his comedy bits. The next scene there would be a joke about something being called Fluffy. Yeah.
Oh my god. What a weird, that's so bizarre. To have him in that and then we're gonna like do your jokes, but not when you're in the scene. And he just goes, "I don't care, that's fine. Just is the check is cleared? Good, cool, thank you so much." And then that's it. They don't care. He doesn't care at all. That's great.
And then like I said earlier, doing a seasonal thing, like the first season they aired right around Christmas time. This season they aired like a month before.
Yeah. So now I think that probably has to do with the strike that was going on. I assume this is a guess, right? Like I just assume it was because of the strike. They're thin on stuff, and they're like, well, if you put it out now, then people double dip on it because they'll watch it in November, but then they'll watch it again in December. Yeah. So it'll be fine. So I assume it's that. I just assume that's what it is.
But like I don't. I'm known for rewatching stuff. I don't plan on ever going back. I didn't even rewatch the first season going back on this. I just rewatched the 5-minute recap before we were going in on this.
That's just how goofy. Okay, so if that's the Santa Claus, that's all the Santa Claus show or whatever. But I want to talk about something that I'm excited to hear you talk about, which is the creator, which you said is like one of your favorite movies of the year.
Oh yeah, I've seen it 5 times already. Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow.
I've seen
it
twice on my own, and I showed my mother and my stepfather together, and then I showed my younger brothers it. Yeah.
Wow. So what made it stand out for you? Like, what was so special about
it's
it?
like an entirely new cast. I think like if you look it up right now, it's an entirely new cast. It is like you said, you looked it up earlier. It is like an AI story, so like overdone.
Yeah.
But like because of the new cast and the way they do it, it's like not
Mhm.
like overly done.
What stood out about it where you were like, oh, this is something that you like, it really stood out, I guess, separated itself from the pack, from everything else you saw.
Like it's hard to like now that you know it's an AI thing. It's like hard to like describe unless you see like a trailer or whatever for it. Like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen I saw the trailer and I sort of I know exactly what you're talking about, but like I guess
it was a $5 million budget, by the way, too.
Wow, that's so crazy. Really?
Yeah. And all the budget went towards the CGI for the AI stuff.
Really?
Yeah. That's why it's an unknown cast.
That's so crazy. So like, that's so interesting. Okay. I mean, I just think it's exciting when you watch more stuff, I think, than anyone that I know. So
yeah, I have my final review for the Fast X coming out this Friday. So
yeah, that's cool. But it's very, it's interesting to me when you talk about when you find something and you go like, hey, this is the thing that stood out to me. Like, this is my favorite thing.
There was only like 200 something people on like Amazon that's seen it too, which is I think.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Interesting. I mean, to have that kind of budget, to have that kind of, I mean, not like a ton of reach, but to be able to do that and to have it be sort of like special to you or whatever, I think is really neat. I think that's really fantastic.
Without spoilers, I want to say there's this the B storyline that I love about the an undercover military thing where they go undercover, they're not detected whatsoever, they kill all these AI things just for them to find out that they're the bad guys. The U.S. military is, by the way, the bad guys for this.
Wow, that's cool. That sounds great. I mean, it's just, I don't know, super interesting that something like that stood out to you in that way. So that's a lot of fun. I think that's really great. What else? What else you? Oh, Godzilla. Yes. You were talking about. You were telling me about Godzilla. You'd asked me when we were talking before this, or like the other day, and you're like, "Oh, hey, do you care about Godzilla at all?" And I was like, "I do not, and I don't get it, and I don't understand."
Yeah, my younger brother like loves Godzilla, and like I'm in the middle ground where I'm like, I'll watch it if it's good or not.
Yeah, it's people go crazy for Godzilla, and I don't understand it, man.
I'm like in the middle ground, like you said, where like the American films I don't really like.
Yeah,
I love the '90s film, no matter what people say.
You're crazy.
Along with the King Kong Jack Black one, I love that one too because I know that one's so gotten some hate over the last few years.
Right. But that's so
the
funny.
ones from 2014 till now, I love God vs. Kong, which I know a lot of people are on the fence on that one.
It's very, it's pro wrestling is how the movie feels. They are one guy, like Godzilla defeats King Kong in the first part, and then King Kong defeats Godzilla in the second part, and then you're like, oh, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, here's the rubber match. Who's the best of the best?
It's just to turn your brain off. It's legit
exactly.
Movie, yeah.
Yep. And then the last part, they team up and they fight. They have to fight the bad guy together.
For my line of movies, like if I can find a movie like that, for my line of what I do on YouTube, for my line of movies, if I can find something like that, I love it.
Right. And I don't think I think that's great. I think being able to be mindful of what you're watching and knowing what it is getting into it, I think it's great. Now, let me ask you, because the new Godzilla came out, and there's also this Godzilla TV show, which I want you to tell me about.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a bit too. Yeah.
But what do you think of? Did you see the trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong 2?
Yes, I have. Okay,
and what did you think of that?
I actually liked it.
Wow, really? I didn't dislike it at all, and it looks like they're gonna have to reunite the tag team to take on a big red monkey, and that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Godzilla, it's gonna be a monkey.
Yeah, it's just this big monkey, and he's mad, and he's gonna take out the lizard, and he's gonna take out the monkey.
Plus, apparently Godzilla hibernated because he got mad because he had short arms, and now he has long arms.
Okay, so tell me about I guess Godzilla -1 in this show that you've been watching that I've only heard a little bit about.
I haven't seen Godzilla -1. I've only heard.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it to come out on demand, like Oppenheimer,
right?
Which we can talk about right after this.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
okay,
yeah.
So Godzilla -1 has a straight up 97% again for both critics. And
wow. Mm-hmm.
And it's straight up Godzilla just tearing up cities, like being evil again.
That's crazy. Like, that's the plot, and like they gotta like stop him.
Yep, that's back to like the 1960s version where he's just straight up tearing up cities again. Yep.
So does it have the other monsters, or is it just Godzilla?
It's just Godzilla. It's just tearing up cities, and they have to stop him, like the OG storyline, just people trying to stop Godzilla.
Wow. How does it play out? Like, what does the show kind of like feel like, or what like?
No, that's not the show. I'm talking about Godzilla -1.
Oh, Godzilla -1 is just Godzilla destroying stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, man, that's crazy that they did like a show about that. I thought after that other movie, I figured like the American Godzilla, they're like, oh, we're friends and we have to fight like all like the monsters, and I'm like, wow, that's great. Oh, Godzilla -1 is him just killing stuff.
No, the show it has the background characters from the first 4 American movies as the main character, and they're delving into the background of what happened with the monster attacks throughout the first 4 movies.
Man, that's like okay, so. So Godzilla -1 is separate from.
Yeah, it's a separate.
Okay, so those are all separate. The American and Japanese Godzilla. Okay, see, this is why I don't like Godzilla. It's not even like confusing. It's that I have to keep it straight. Sucks to me, and I don't like it. So,
but for like a film buff like me, you can keep it straight.
Yeah, then you can keep it straight. So Godzilla. So this show, it's called Monarch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so Monarch is about it's all the background characters from.
They got the actual actors back from the those
oh,
shots
wow.
where he was destroying the city. Yeah. They actually got the people from the first 4 movies back. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I thought was amazing.
Crazy.
They got the actual actors back because, like, you go back to watch Godzilla destroying the cities, and they show the shots of him destroying them. The people running, those people running are the main characters of the show.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then
they're dealing with the trauma of that attack, and each episode is like them dealing with that trauma.
Oh, that's what that show. So that show is just like a continuation of that stuff, and then like Mothra is there and stuff, or what? Like they got like other monsters.
Yeah, and it's the background is like the startup of the Monarch, the guys that are trying to stop Godzilla, like trying to find his weakness or whatever.
Oh, and Kurt Russell's in it?
Yeah, Kurt Russell from the New York or whatever. You say from New York, yeah.
Yeah, I like. Okay, is he in it like a lot?
The last like 3 episodes he's been in it. Yeah, I just watched the current one with my younger brother just now. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So they're putting this all together to figure out like how to stop these monsters and to like deal with the devastation, but. Like, what does the I guess, like, what is the purpose of the show? Like,
just
what are they doing?
Add story until the new God versus Kong comes out.
Huh. And so, okay.
And it's just surprising that it's actually good. Like, unless you see, like, at least 1 episode of it, you, like, I don't think would understand. Like, even I'm having a hard time, like, explaining it.
That's really interesting. So is it mostly like the people and not so much the monsters?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
The monsters are the foreground, like the background. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I had no idea that like what this thing was, or like real. I just assumed it's like, oh hey, we're the Monarch thing, and we're gonna help Godzilla fight Mothra or whatever the fuck he does.
The Monarch was pretty big in the first Godzilla movie with Tom Hiddleston and John.
Yeah, doesn't have John Goodman or whatever is
He's
like
in the very first one, in the first 5
Yeah.
minutes, yeah. Which I was shocked to see he actually was there. It wasn't the CGI thing. He was
No.
there.
Yeah. That's funny. Maybe I'll have to check. Monarch, at least, that sounds interesting to me. I don't need to see. I feel like there's this push toward like a hyper realism in giant monster fights where everything like Pacific Rim did it, where it's like, oh yeah, this is like physics accurate. Yeah, this is like they fight and it looks like it's really slow because they're so big. And it's like, that's cool, I guess. I don't want to watch that. I want to watch them go fast and be big robots go fast. Yeah, you know what I mean? And
but
so
each episode's about a half hour, by the way.
Oh, really? That's not so bad.
Like once you skip, you have the option if it's an Apple show, by the way, too. Like,
okay.
You can skip the intro and you can skip the whatever you can skip. Yeah, it's about a half hour with that skipping everything. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I mean,
it's bingeable too.
It seems decent. I mean, it seems fun, I guess. Kurt Russell's in it, and that makes me want to see something. It's Kurt Russell, you know. I love him. Okay, and then what else have you been like? What else you been on? What else you been watching?
List here real quick.
Okay.
1 second. I got it here. I want to talk about the Marvels with Oh wait.
Yeah. Please tell me about that.
We talked about Tropic Thunder too. I just saw that.
Oh yeah. That's like a movie of its time for sure. I mean, Big Time came out a long time ago, 100%. But
I wanted to see it because it's been mentioned by other guests on this podcast multiple times, and I have not seen it. So I had time since, like I said before, I watched my bad movies ahead of time until next year.
Yeah.
So it's on Hulu. I was like, why not? I got 2 hours. I threw it on. I see why people like it.
Yeah, you know, I think for the time too, it definitely
I was in middle
did.
school at the time it came out, 2007, 2008.
There you go. Like that's definitely who. It's for a younger crowd at that time. It's just not a movie that would come out now. And
everybody says that it would not have been made now.
No, I think that's very plain to see. I think it's pretty easy to understand why, but at the same time, you have to like what it was at the time and what that movie was and everything. That was a huge hit. That was a gigantic hit movie. Which it's very funny. It's a very funny movie. I do think that it is.
I'm just a dude playing a dude.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think it's overblown. Like people keep talking about it, like, oh man, it was like this, like in the culture, it was so funny, and it's like I don't remember it being like so. It was just like a funny movie that came out at the time.
And like I told you, I was trying to pick out who Tom Cruise was, and he was the bald dude who was the villain.
Oh yeah. And he was, and again, that was the thing that people talked about, like, oh my god, can you believe this? And I went, yeah, it's the actor acting. I can definitely believe that. He did a great job.
Like I told you, every single one of my favorite people is in it. Bill Hader, Tom Cruise, Robert Downey Jr.
Yep. It's everyone's in it, and it's before a lot of people were like really gigantic stars. So it's cool.
Last few minutes here, instead of the Marvels, I want to talk about Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So you finally saw it.
Yes.
What was your takeaway from it? What did you think?
I'm a huge history buff, so they got a lot wrong. I was watching this. While they detonated the bomb, that's when he actually said "I am the destroyer of the worlds" or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I loved again. Robert Downey Jr. was in it. And they tried to put it on him as like the bad guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I loved it. It was a great 2 hour mark. The bomb went off. I thought it was gonna be loud, but it was actually quiet.
It was I was very surprised. I really liked the movie more than I thought I would. I saw it in theaters. I went with my wife and my friend Blaine and his girlfriend, and it was like we saw it in the what is it called? I think it's like the Atmos theater, whatever. It was just like whatever super sound thing they like pump up. So I was like really expecting it to be super loud, and
Yeah, no,
it was
think-
like it's loud, but like
I have good surround sound in my house. I'm a movie guy. I have my like little man cave. I have a big screen TV and a good surround sound. I was like, when I was waiting for the drop. Then for that, I was like, the fuck.
Yep. I really liked the movie. I thought it was edited very interestingly. The first hour
that it's like an 11-mile wide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just very interesting. It was very interesting to watch. I went in sort of with like mixed expectations. I really didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but it was edited like an action movie in the first hour. It was like a breakneck speed. I didn't know Robert Downey Jr. was in it, so when I first saw him, I didn't recognize him.
Oh yeah, no, I was like you. I didn't see that as him until I paused it to get up.
Yeah,
like,
and then it was like, it's fucking Robert Downey Jr. And that to me was the coolest part of the whole movie. I thought he was so good as that character and so interesting as that character, to have a foil, to have an antagonist that isn't the war necessarily.
I saw an interview of how Robert Downey Jr. said like he was not the Mozart of his own film,
mm-hmm.
and the guy who played Oppenheimer was.
Yeah, it's very interesting that like the way they portray Oppenheimer and the way that
I wanted to talk about that real quick.
Please.
He does play a really good, like he was like kind of a deadbeat dad, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But giving off his kid to his brother,
mm-hmm.
and then sleeping with 2 other women other than his wife. And then again, trying to poison his teacher and all that. Yeah.
So weird. So like, I was expecting them to be building a bomb, and he's almost poisoning his teacher, and there's just so much happening. Like, it was so crazy.
But my thing is, shouldn't all those people be dead being that close to nuclear radiation?
I would think so. I have no idea. Yeah, but what an expertly crafted movie. I think it's Christopher Nolan's best film.
No, Dark Knight I still think is his best.
I think Dark Knight is really great and a big fun action movie, and it's really well done. I think Oppenheimer is a better crafted film where Dark Knight kind of loses it in the details. And it does, the whole, like, Christopher Nolan loves to do, like, 4 acts in his movies instead of 3. Yes. And Oppenheimer didn't feel like this big 4-act thing. It felt like
I love his wife, by the way, in it towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without spoilers,
it's so good. It's just so good. And I just think it was his answer to any kind of criticism about what he's capable of and what he can do. I mean, I'm a very harsh critic on. I think that he paints with really broad strokes. I think that he makes movies that have big ideas and loses the details. This movie did not do that, and it was a really fantastic film to sit and watch, and I was thrilled by the end of it, walking out going, I think I love that movie.
Went like snap of a finger,
they flew. It's the shortest 3-hour movie I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was really. I was just very, very impressed with it.
We're actually 5 minutes past the time.
Wow, man! See what happens? It flies when we get together, man. It's always fun. This is so good. But thank you very much for having me, and congratulations on your subscriber count. Congratulations on another season wrapping up with your next episode. This is always a lot of fun, man.
Anything you want to promote? Last words.
No, I want to promote more people subscribing to this. Go listen to all the other episodes. Go listen to all the other stuff, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, man. I'll see you next time.
I just want to shout out an amazing channel, James the Sheriff Dixon. Oh, he's such a great guy, and he is super cool for coming to the show. I'm glad I got to meet him in person, and you should subscribe.